Hi, everyone, and welcome to Firefly and the Willow Yoga. I'm Rebecca. At times, we all feel impatient. Maybe impatient about a job promotion or a goal that we'd like to achieve, or maybe even impatient in our yoga practice. In today's class, we'll be focusing on the theme of patience, trusting ourselves, trusting our practice, and having confidence in the process. I'll be using one block for today's practice. So take a moment, gather what you need, and I'll see you on the mat.
So we'll just come to our comfortable seat and just begin by taking a couple of deep breaths together. Inhaling in through the nose, maybe sighing it out through the mouth. Inhaling in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. One more breath like this, inhaling nice and slow. And exhale to release. You can keep your gaze lowered or allow your eyes to be closed. We're going to do some 3-part breathing now. So, with this 3-part breathing, we'll be inhaling the breath into the lungs, kind of like an elevator. So you can imagine that elevator rising up to your belly button, then up to the middle of your chest, and then all the way to the top of your lungs. We'll pause there for just a moment and then exhale slowly together. So let's try that now. Inhaling up to the belly button. Inhaling up to the chest. Filling the lungs all the way, even feeling the back of the lung expand. And then exhaling slowly. Inhale up to the belly button. Inhale to the middle of the chest. Inhaling all the way up, filling the lung completely, feeling the sides of the lung expand this time. And then exhaling all the way. One more time. Inhaling up to the belly button. Inhale to mid chest. Inhaling all the way, filling the lungs completely, feeling the belly expanded, and continuing to have that awareness of the lung in the back body and in the side body. And then exhaling. Bringing the hands to heart center now. We'll dip the chin to the chest, allowing the breathing to be slow and natural. Just taking a moment here to pause, to bow the wisdom of our minds to the wisdom of our hearts and bodies. And feeling a nice stretch down the back of the neck. Inhaling the head up. Allow the hands to fall back to the knees. Your eyes can be blinked open or you can keep your eyes closed. We'll inhale here to grow tall and then exhale, dropping the left ear to the left shoulder. allowing the right elbow to be heavy. Maybe rotating the cheek down toward the shoulder a little, just feeling how that changes the stretch here. Maybe rotating a little, lifting the cheek and rotating the cheek down, just kind of finding that sweet spot that feels really good for your neck. And then bringing that to stillness, we'll drop the chin to the chest and allow the chin to come back to the center of the chest, bringing that stretch back into the back of the neck again, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Inhaling here, and then as we're exhaling, just taking a trip over to the other shoulder. So now dropping the head over to the right, making the left elbow heavy. Maybe turning the cheek towards the shoulder. Maybe finding some movement here. Stretching through those muscles that keep our heads on our shoulders all day. And now bring that to stillness. The chin comes to the center of the chest. And then we'll inhale the head back up. On our next exhale, we'll just look out over the left shoulder, shining the side of the neck forward, bringing that important range of motion into the neck, like we're looking over our shoulder, maybe checking for something behind the car as we drive. Inhaling the head to center, and then exhale, looking over the other shoulder. Inhale the head back to center, taking the fingertips out to the edges of the mat, planting the left fingers and inhaling the right arm up, exhaling, reaching up and over, grounding that right hip down into the floor and peeling the right shoulder back. Any amount. Just bringing that stretch into the right oblique. And taking the gaze down towards the fingertips now, you're going to allow this top arm to reach over toward the left, sweeping around in front, really reaching out here. And then bringing those right fingertips to the mat, coming back up to seated. Now inhaling up through the left arm, we'll exhale, grounding down through that left hip, peeling the left shoulder open, maybe taking the gaze up towards the elbow. And then taking the gaze down towards the fingertips, allowing those left fingers to sweep around, reaching around in front, maybe brushing the floor, and then coming back to the mat next to us. Turning both palms up now, we'll inhale the arms up overhead, holding that imaginary beach ball way up overhead. And then we'll exhale, dropping to the left side. Left fingertips come behind the spine here, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, and then exhale, twisting from the center of the chest. Maybe if you like here, you take that gaze a little farther over the left shoulder if that feels okay for your neck now. Once again, just practicing this functional movement of twisting and looking over the shoulder. And then allow your head to unwind first, coming back to center, and allow the rest of your body to follow. Sending those palms up again, inhaling up overhead. And this time we'll exhale, dropping to the other side. Fingertips coming to the floor behind. Sitting up nice and tall. Inhaling here. Exhaling, maybe looking out a little more over that right shoulder this time. Remembering to trust your yoga here. It's not necessary to crank or push yourself into this shape. Just allow the shape to do its work. Inhaling will allow the arms to come up overhead. And then exhale, hands float down. We'll come around to a cat-cow now. So coming into tabletop, bringing the wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And whether you have your toes rolled under or the tops of your feet on the floor, pressing actively into the feet, feeling how that helps to engage the belly button up to the spine. And then from this nice stable place, beginning to move, rotating the tailbone up towards the ceiling as you inhale. Exhale, rotating the tailbone under, pulling the navel to the spine. And coming through this cat-cow with your own breath. Can have confidence in our yoga here, knowing that just these simple movements bring nourishment and hydration to the spine. Maybe come through one more round here. And then we'll allow that to come to stillness. And take the hands, a couple of handprints out in front, rolling the toes under in the back. Nice wide fingers here, and shifting the hips up, coming to downward facing dog. And you can walk your dog here, just pedaling out through the feet, finding any movement here, maybe moving from side to side a little, maybe even back and forth slightly, anything that feels good for you. And now bringing that natural movement to stillness. We'll inhale to come up to the toes and exhale as we bend the knees, sending the tailbone up towards the ceiling, pressing away from the mat, feeling that nice straight line from the crown of the head all the way out through the tailbone. Inhaling here and then exhaling, dropping the heels, not being concerned with whether or not they reach the mat, but just allowing them to drop down. Inhale up to the toes. Exhale, bend the knees, rotate that tailbone up. And on your next exhale, drop the heels. One more time, inhaling up to toes. Exhale, bending the knees. And then on your next exhale, dropping the heels. Taking the gaze up towards the hands now, we'll walk up to the top of the mat. Coming to a forward fold, knees may be bent here, that's fine. And allowing the head to relax down towards the floor. You can walk the fingertips from side to side here, or maybe grasp the elbows and allow yourself to hang here in ragdoll. Maybe you find a little movement. Just being patient with this process. Allow yourself to trust that you are right where you need to be in this pose, in this moment, in the unfolding of your life. Now, if you took a rag doll, allow your fingertips to drop back down to the floor. You're going to bend the knees deeply and take one hand above each bent knee. Inhaling up to stand, allowing the arms to reach up overhead, fingertips really reaching up towards the ceiling as we ground down through the soles of the feet. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Taking a moment here to reflect, make any adjustments you need to make. And then we're going to allow the fingertips to reach down in order to sweep back up, taking a nice big deep breath. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Repeating that now, reaching the fingertips down, sweeping up, nice big deep breath. And as you exhale, bringing your focus to that ujjayi breath, that yoga breath you make in the back of your throat. Fingertips sweeping down one more time, inhaling up overhead. Exhale. Fingertips sweep down again, inhaling the arms up overhead. And this time, as we're exhaling, lowering down into a forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale into the fold. And then grounding down into both feet, inhaling all the way up, rooting down to rise. Arms come up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhale, coming down through heart center, all the way down, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale all the way to stand, rooting to rise. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale all the way down, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, releasing the body over the legs. Inhale all the way up to stand. Hands coming down through heart center, reaching all the way down, coming into a nice stable Tadasana here. Hugging all the muscles into the bones, rooting down through the feet, pulling the navel up and in, shoulders on the back, chin tucked in slightly. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands come down through heart center, all the way to forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, release, planting both hands into the floor. We'll step back with the left foot here. And then exhale, looking forward, deepening into this right side lunge. Planting both hands now, taking that right foot to the back. And here you can choose to come to plank or half plank, and you can choose to come through a chaturanga or go straight to downward facing dog. So if you're taking the chaturanga, come forward on your toes a little if you're in full plank, hugging those elbows into the sides. Exhale all the way down, hovering at the bottom for a moment if you can. And then release all the way to the floor. Tops of the feet come to the floor, elbows hugging in. Inhale up, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Rolling the toes under, pressing back up through plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. We started by stepping back with the left foot. So we'll inhale the the left foot up from the mat. Exhaling, left foot comes in between the hands. Looking out, deepening into this left side lunge. Inhale, right foot to the front. Exhale, release. Inhaling all the way up to stand. Hands coming down through heart center. Once again, allowing those fingertips to reach down in order to sweep back up overhead. Exhale, right down through heart center, coming all the way down, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, release. Planting both hands, stepping back with the right leg this time. Exhaling, looking out, left side lunge. Planting both hands, taking your plank or half plank, and then coming through chaturanga or straight to down dog, pausing at the bottom for a moment in chaturanga if you can, releasing all the way down to the mat. Tops of the feet coming to the floor, pressing into the tops of the feet so firmly that the knees lift from the floor as you use the back muscles, inhaling up, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Rolling the toes under, coming to plank or half plank, and down, back to down dog. Inhaling up through the right leg this time. Exhale, bringing that right knee in through center. And coming into right side lunge. Left foot comes to the front, inhaling up halfway. Exhale, release. Inhale all the way to stand. Hands come to heart center. Take a moment here to receive from your practice. And then we'll inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, sweeping down, forward fold. Stepping back with the right foot, we'll come back into our lunge with left leg forward. And then we're going to allow that right heel to pivot and come down to the mat so that the left toes are facing forward and the right toes are facing up towards the corner of the mat. And then windmilling the arms around, we'll come up into warrior two. So once you find your way here, just take a moment and make any adjustments to your stance that you need to make. Bringing that left knee over the left ankle. Might be your right. I think it's your right, actually. And then we'll drop the back hand, reaching the front hand forward, gathering up some air, sweeping the arm back into reverse warrior. Keeping that bend in the front knee. Inhale to warrior two. And then we're going to allow the back hand to sweep forward as we come up into a high lunge on this side. And if you lose your balance, that's okay. Just readjust, come back in. Exhaling here will allow the hands to come down to frame the foot. As we step the back foot forward just slightly, again, turning the toes out, preparing to come up into warrior one. Inhaling, arms come up overhead. Coming into warrior one. Bringing some awareness to the hips, trying to bring them into alignment here. And then we'll allow the hands to sweep down behind the small of the back if you like. You can keep them right there, or you can interlace the fingers, pressing down and away, opening through the chest, maybe lifting the chin slightly. And then choosing to keep it here, or if you like, hinging at the hips, coming over into humble warrior. Allowing the shoulder to come down to the knee. Really reaching those knuckles up towards the ceiling here. And then allowing that bind to release, bringing the hands back down around to frame the foot, stepping that front foot back, coming into your plank or half plank, and taking it through your vinyasa. And if you like to inhale up to upward facing dog here, your back is ready for that. Welcome to do that. Take the gaze forward and step or hop to the top of the mat this time. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, release into the fold. Inhale all the way up to stand. Hands to heart center. Nice deep breath here. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, hands come down. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, releasing into the fold. Stepping back with the left leg this time. And exhale, looking out, lowering into our right side high lunge. Dropping that back heel to the mat, windmilling the arms up, coming into warrior two. Take whatever time you need here to adjust your stance, checking in with yourself, pressing out into the outer edges of the feet, dropping the back hand, scooping that front arm forward, reaching up, keeping the front knee bent. And then allowing those hands to windmill around, coming back to frame the front foot, coming back into our lunge, and stepping that back foot forward just slightly. And then when you're ready, inhaling up, warrior one. Squaring the hips into alignment, deepening into that front knee, really pressing out through both feet here, like you might tear the mat in half. Exhaling, bringing the hands to the lower back, or interlacing them in the way that feels odd or unusual. Pressing the knuckles down and away, maybe lifting the chin. And then exhale, lowering forward if you like. Pressing the knuckles up towards the sky. And then allowing that bind to gently release, taking both hands to frame the front foot, stepping that foot back and coming through your Chaturanga, or maybe coming directly to downward facing dog. Taking the gaze forward, we'll step or hop to the top of the mat, inhaling up halfway. Exhale, release. And inhale all the way up to stand. Hands come to heart center. I'm going to take a variation of tree pose now today. So coming to the top of your mat, you can bring your feet to hip width distance. Once again, building that firm foundation all the way up from the bottom. And then here we're going to bring the weight into your right foot, allowing the left leg to come up from the floor. And you might choose to stay here in this one-legged mountain, or you can bring that leg down, rotating the leg out to the side, and then coming into tree pose. Bring the hands to heart center and to Anjali Mudra. And then if you like to take this into a different variation, you can bring that leg up, bringing the top of the foot into the crease of the standing leg, maybe even holding that foot there. Straightening through the spine, finding that focal point. Pulling in through the belly button, pulling up through the pelvic floor. And then when you're ready, allowing that leg to come back to mountain pose. And slowly lowering to the floor. Shaking out through the legs here. Just taking a moment to notice your thoughts about what you just did. Allow yourself to release judgment, or maybe release that impatience with yourself if it began to crop up. And then we'll ground down through the left foot this time, allowing the right foot to come to one-legged mountain. Holding it here for a moment. Remembering that we practice balance by being off balance. So everything belongs. Keeping it here or dropping that foot back to the floor, rotating the knee out to the side, and then finding your tree pose. And then maybe reaching down, grabbing that foot, finding the wall, taking that foot into the crease of the other leg, maybe holding onto the foot. Using whatever you have in your environment to support you. No need to struggle. No need to strain. Just being patient with the process, patient with yourself. And then when you're ready, allow that leg to come back to one-legged mountain. Pelvis comes to neutral. And then releasing that foot slowly down to the floor, shaking it out. There's actually a physiological purpose to shaking out the hands and legs that engages the parasympathetic nervous system. So when you get upset and somebody tells you to just shake it off, there's actually something to that. So let's come back to the top of the mat if you're not already there. We're going to come to a thigh stretch. This will also be a little balance practice today. So you can ground down through that left foot. Reach back Taking a hold of the top of the right foot or the back of a pant leg. And if you need to hold on to the wall or a piece of furniture here, that's fine. Allowing that right knee to sink down so that it's parallel with the left knee. And then inhaling the left arm up overhead, if you like. Exhale, allowing that to drop down slowly with control. Taking root in the opposite foot now. Bringing the left heel up towards the glute. Grasping the top of the left foot. Bringing those knees parallel. Inhaling, arm up overhead. Little micro bend in the knee here. Tucking that right hip back under the body. Again, using that pelvic floor muscle to help us to have balance. Exhale, releasing that down to the floor. We'll take that again. So grounding down through the left foot. We'll bring the right foot up behind. And this time, if you like, and if you can, switching the grip of the foot so that the palm is facing outward and the grip is on the inside of the foot. And from here, we can move into different variations of dancer pose. So pulling that belly button in, maybe kicking that foot into the hand, reaching the arm out, using the glute to lift, and then exhale to release, bringing that down to the floor. And remember, maybe you're using a wall or a piece of furniture, or maybe you're just in thigh stretch. That is fine. Be patient with yourself and where you are today. Coming back to your firm stance, rooting down through the right foot, allowing the left foot to come up, maybe taking that flipped grip on the foot, pulling in pelvic floor, belly button, kicking the foot into the hand. And then allowing that to release. Coming back to mountain pose. Deep breath. Allow yourself to release your shoulders. And then grounding down into the left foot, we'll allow the right leg to rise up from the floor, flexing the foot, keeping that right foot parallel to the floor, pulling the belly button in. And we're beginning to slowly hinge here, shooting that right leg back, coming back as far as we can, and allowing the toes to touch down, and coming into lunge. From here, we can take both hands to the inside of the left leg, allowing that left foot to walk all the way out to the outer edge of the mat. Maybe those left toes even spill out over the mat a little. We'll allow the right knee to come down to touch the floor and find ourselves here in proud lizard. Sinking that right hip forward, maybe even allowing the left knee to come out to the side a little to create a little bit more space for the body here. And from here, if you like, you can come down into a low lizard, maybe coming down to the forearms on the floor, or perhaps on a block, or perhaps choosing to stay in high lizard. Bringing the focus back to the breath. If you took that low lizard, inhaling to come back up, shifting the block out to the side, walking that foot back in between the hands, rolling the toes under, coming back into our lunge, and then planting both hands, come back into plank pose. You can be in half plank or full plank here. And from plank pose, we're going to open up into side plank with the left leg planted. So you can bring that left knee to the floor and kickstand it out if you like. Or you can simply roll to the left side, opening the right arm, coming up into side lunge. Finding your focal point, staying here for 3 breaths. Allowing those fingertips to slowly come down to the floor, coming back into our plank or half plank. And then choosing if you'd like to come through your vinyasa or go straight to down dog. Coming into downward facing dog now. Taking a moment here to breathe. And then shifting the gaze forward, you can step or hop up to the top of your mat. Inhaling, arms come up overhead. Hands come to heart center. Grounding down through the right foot now will allow the left foot to come up from the floor. One-legged mountain. Sinking that left hip down, flexing the left foot, just like we're standing on a step or a block. And then slowly with control, beginning to move that left leg back behind. Reaching those toes back as far as you can. And then coming down into your lunge on the right side. Taking both hands to the inside of the right foot this time, allowing the right foot to walk out to the edge of the mat. Maybe the toes spill off, maybe they don't. Lowering the left knee to the mat and coming here to proud lizard. Opening that right knee out to the side if you need to make a little more room for yourself. And if you like to come down to a low, languishing lizard, you can lower down to the forearms on the floor or a block. Again, coming to the breath. Always returning home to the breath. Coming back up to proud lizard. And then walking that right foot back in between the hands. Rolling up on the toes and the back, planting both hands, stepping the feet back, and coming through your vinyasa or to down dog. And now from our downward facing dog, we'll allow our knees to come down to the mat, taking the big toes to touch and choosing your version of child's pose, maybe keeping the knees together or maybe allowing the knees to come apart. Sinking back into child's pose, reaching the fingertips way out in front, or maybe finding another variation that's more inviting for you right now. Just taking this moment maybe to extend a little gratitude to yourself for just showing up today on your mat. Knowing that you can come to your mat and just trust that your yoga will do the rest in its own time. The heart of being patient with ourselves is having trust and confidence that things are unfolding the way they should. And now use your breath to help you rise up from your child's pose. We'll shift the feet out to one side and come back to a seated position on the mat. We're going to allow the soles of the feet to come to the mat. Knees can be bent here. And we'll take the hands to the backs of the knees here, rolling the shoulders onto the back so that those collarbones are spread open nice and wide. And then pulling that belly button in, we'll lift first one leg and then the other, keeping the shoulders on the back and that nice broad collarbones. And then maybe from here you release the legs, allowing the palms to face up towards the ceiling. Maybe you extend one leg, finding that little shake. And then bend that leg, extending the other leg. Being okay with that little tremble. Bending that leg, bringing the hands back behind the knees, rolling forward, allowing yourself to reach around your legs, opening your knees to create space if you need to, allowing the head to relax and the upper back to release. And then inhaling to unwind. Here we'll bring the hands back behind the knees, coming into our Navasana or boat pose one more time. Shoulders rolling onto the back. Lifting one leg, lifting the other. And then making your choices about where you'd like to go from here. Focusing on the breath. And then slowly releasing with control. Feet come back to the floor, arms reach around the knees. Maybe you even rock from side to side a little. That feels good here. And we're going to bring the hands back behind the hips here. I'll turn towards you. And just begin to allow the legs to windshield wiper from side to side. And then you can allow the legs to just fall all the way over to the right here. We're going to bring the shin of the left leg into the arch of the right foot. Now your left hip may be slightly lifted from the floor here, and that's okay. I'm going to come into Baddha or Bob Asana. I like to call it Bob Asana. So inhale the arms up overhead here. And then we're going to twist to one side, either side. Doesn't really matter where we start off here. So just coming into this twist towards one side. And then inhaling the arms up overhead. We'll exhale and drop into this twist on the other side. And maybe just notice for yourself how it feels different to twist towards the legs versus twisting away from the legs. Where does that bring the sensation in your body? Inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhale, allowing those hands to swim back around behind. And we'll windshield wiper the legs again. Maybe bringing the feet back in front if you need to adjust. And then dropping the knees over to the other side. Bringing the right shin towards the left foot. And inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhale to either side. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, twisting in the other direction. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. And we're just going to open the top leg, bringing the soles of the feet together, coming into our Baddha Konasana, and holding on here anywhere you like. Maybe someplace a little different this morning, maybe in your usual favorite way. Sitting up just as tall as you can. Feeling that crown of the head to tailbone connection. Imagining, if you will, that you can feel your own energy traveling more freely up and down the highway of your spine as we've come to the end of our practice today. And choosing to stay right here in your Baddha Konasana, or if you have a butterfly forward fold in your practice, maybe sinking your chest forward any amount. And if you took that forward fold, inhaling to walk the hands back towards the body. We'll use the hands to gently close the knees. And then find your way onto your back, coming into your Shavasana, final resting pose for today. Remembering that it's always okay to stay seated in Shavasana if you prefer that, and that your Shavasana can be taken in any of a number of different ways. And once you've found your way into where you'd like to end your practice, just let your body be still. Let your nerves become quiet. And in this stillness and quietness, just observe the quality of your natural breath. Maybe your breath is a little uneven or erratic. Sometimes quick, sometimes slow. Sometimes the breath is smooth and sometimes it's jagged. Just allow yourself to observe without applying judgment to the breath. We also notice that some parts of the lungs receive the breath more readily than others, or that your inhale and your exhale are not quite the same. As soon as we notice the breath, our tendency is to try to control it. So, as much as you can, just notice these qualities of breath without interfering. Just allow your breath to breathe you. And having just observed the breath in this way, perhaps begin now to make it more regular, guiding your breath from its natural state toward a more smooth and even rhythm. Begin to make the inhalation and the exhalation the same length, maybe even counting slowly in your mind to measure the breath. As you continue to breathe smoothly and regularly, begin to distribute your breath evenly so that the whole lung becomes receptive to the breath. Take your attention to the dark corners of the lungs where the breath is a little reluctant to penetrate. And use your attention itself to open those spaces to receive the breath just a little more fully. Imagine your breath like an ocean and your chest as the shore. Allow your breath to become a wave, washing up from the ocean depths of your belly onto the shore of your chest and back again. Just let this wave of your breath wash back and forth from belly to chest, chest to belly, keeping your belly soft and deep and your chest wide and open. Begin to deepen the breath again, Calling yourself back into this moment. Maybe wiggling your fingers and toes or dragging your thumb across the top of each finger. Perhaps you like to reach the arms up overhead and stretch out long like it's the very first stretch of the morning. And then roll yourself to one side. Pausing there to reflect. And then coming up to seated when you're ready. Keep your eyes closed if you like. Bring your hands to heart center. And we'll close with some words from John Kabat-Zinn's book, Wherever You Go, There You Are. Meditation is not about feeling a certain way. It's about feeling the way you feel. Meditation is about letting the mind be as it is and knowing something about how it is in this moment. It's not about getting somewhere else, but about allowing yourself to be where you already are. Sit patiently with the breath and with a keen awareness of what is unfolding in each moment, allowing it to unfold as it will, without imposing anything on it. Just watching, just breathing, embodying stillness, and becoming patience. I hope that your practice today helps you find a little bit more patience in your day. Thank you for joining me, and may your yoga follow you off the mat.